Biden's spokesperson for the campaign, who looks like Pajama Boy. So Pajama Boy's got a new gig. His name is Ducklow, TJ Ducklow. And one thing's for sure after last night, we all know TJ knows how to ducklow the question. Womp, womp. But he appeared on TV, and Brett Baer, who, look, the guy's, I'm sure he's ideologically a conservative, and I think he comes at news from a conservative perspective, but I also think he is fair to Democrat guests. He asks fair questions. He lets people talk. He lets them answer. So, if you're going to be a journalist who has a point of view, at least the Brett Baer rules, you would think, should apply. And this is how Mr. Ducklow was ducklowing all the things asked of him. This is just one example of it. Play clip 2.
End with this. Has Joe Biden ever used a teleprompter during local interviews or to answer Q&A with supporters?
Brett, we are not going to engage. This is straight from the Trump campaign's
but yeah,
talking
they're
points.
using it.
And what it does, Brett, is it's trying to distract the American people.
They're using it. They talk about it every day. Can you say yes or no?
That's because they talk about it every day, Brett, because they don't have a coherent
well, you
strategy.
have an answer. Yes or no?
Brett, they talk about it every day because they don't have a coherent argument for why Donald Trump deserves re-election, deserves 4 more years. We know that he lied to the American people. We know that he has not shown leadership during this crisis, and they are desperate to throw anything they can against the wall to try to distract from that fact.
I understand, but you can't answer the question.
Brett, I am not going to allow the Trump campaign to funnel their questions through Fox News and get me to respond to that.
Well, why can't you respond to that, dude? It's not hard. Buck Sexton. Last night, were you robbing a bank? I refuse to answer your question about whether I was robbing a bank last night. No, you can just say, no, man, I was not robbing a bank last night. Now, I understand that you could say something like, well, Buck, what about, when did you stop beating your wife? Yeah, there are loaded questions that are meant to be an attack, but does Biden use a prompter during local interviews? That's feasible. That's plausible. Is it a yes or no question? Yes or no question, folks. It's not hard. But Biden's little buddy here, not a strong showing. Also, I didn't know Michael Knowles had a twin brother. What's going on with that? I like Michael Knowles. I'm just saying. He kind of looks like Michael Knowles a little bit. Michael Knowles, way better looking, of course. Way better looking. But anyway, and also is a patriot, loves America. We've had Michael on the show a bunch of times. Good dude, good dude. So Biden himself, though, really not much better when he's having to answer a real question. You're seeing something here. There's a Democrat approach to Trump where you can't say that Trump did anything right. You can give no credit. Here's an example. During the Obama administration, when people would say, if someone had asked me or a conservative, I think in general conservatives, was it a good thing that that Obama gave the order to take out Osama bin Laden? Yes, you got to say yes. That was the right move. Okay, Obama, that's points on the board for Obama. Look, let's not pretend that things that are good are actually bad just because somebody who does a lot of things we don't like did it. All right? So I think this is about having a principle. This is about calling things what they are. And then you have, on the other side of this, you have Biden asked, for example, about trade deals. Now, Trump came into office and we were told, oh my gosh, he doesn't know anything about trade. He doesn't understand trade. And then everyone who did a little bit of reading on this found out, well, wait a second. NAFTA actually does need to be renegotiated. That should happen. Why hasn't that happened? And then Trump came along with the USMCA, which even Nancy Pelosi said was a good thing for the country. But when Biden's asked about it, listen to their, I'm just sort of mumbling stuff and, I'm trying to stay awake and it's not easy. Like clip 1.
Something else he did is he renegotiated NAFTA.
He did.
He renegotiated NAFTA. Now, when you ran for president and when Barack Obama ran for president, you both said you would renegotiate NAFTA. You didn't. He did. Nancy Pelosi said that the USMCA, which President Trump signed into law, is a, quote, victory for America's workers. Does he deserve credit for that?
No, I think, remember, he wasn't the one that pushed that particular one that passed. The House amended the bill, so he couldn't.
He signed it.
By the way, it's a big deal, though. Here's what they amended. He was giving pharma a way out, giving them a gigantic break, just like he's doing now with pharma. They're building plants overseas and getting tax breaks for it. That's what it was about with him, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do.
He renegotiated NAFTA, and you didn't. Is the point? I mean,
because we had a Republican Congress that wouldn't go along with us renegotiating it.
But doesn't he deserve some credit for that? It's better. The USMCA is better than NAFTA.
It is better than NAFTA.
Fake Tapper occasionally asks a real question. I don't know why everyone's, oh my gosh, it's so much journalism. I mean, yeah, he does ask a real question sometimes. It's true. This guy's still a jerk. And is still a Democrat operative, but anyway. And notice, it's not a tough question. It's an obvious question. But that for Biden that's a huge change from what he normally gets. Here's the way reporters think they are making sure this guy's ready, making sure he is battle tested to be the president of the United States at the young age of 78. Here he is. Play 4.
Really, your strength is in traveling around the country and connecting with people. You can't do any of that right now. Mr. Vice President, does that worry you?
Why isn't Joe Biden angrier about all of this?
When you hear these remarks, suckers, losers, what does it tell you about President Trump's soul?
I want to ask,
What's your take on the Republican convention so far?
Do you think wearing a mask projects strength or weakness?
You think the President of the United States is rooting for the violence because he thinks it helps him politically?
You think he's actually rooting for violence?
I wonder if you worry that this kind of language that comes from the President of the United States could deter some Americans who are tuning into him to not wear masks.
How concerned are you that they're going to rush something out even before Election Day?
President Trump says offensive things. He never apologizes for it. Is there a double standard here?
Joe Biden, just a guy in his basement talking to a gal in hers. Go ahead.
No, probably best I don't.
If this guy becomes president, it really does make a mockery of our whole system. It really does make a mockery of it all. It's amazing that here we are, and this is the person that we have in charge. Oh, you know what Democrats don't care about? You. Because right now they're blocking the COVID relief package that would be very substantial. The bill, as it stands right now, the Republicans would pass $300 weekly unemployment subsidy, $105 billion for schools, $20 billion for farmers, $10 billion for the U.S. Postal Service, $10 billion for child care assistance, $47 billion for vaccines and testing, $258 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program, which, as you know, helps small businesses out and gives them the forgivable loans to pay people that they can't keep on staff right now. And what do you hear from the Democrats over this? Nope. Not enough. Not enough. Unacceptable. Mitch McConnell understands what's going on here. Cocaine Mitch ain't playing no games. Play 11.
Well, the president supports what we're trying to do. He's behind us. He would like to tackle these challenges that are clearly necessary to be challenged, that be tackled and should be done on a bipartisan basis and needs to be done right now. It makes you believe they really don't want to do another proposal. They want to wait till after the election and play games with this. What they passed in the House months ago was a $3 trillion wish list of liberal items, including tax cuts for rich people in New York and California. Really, that has nothing to do with COVID-19.
Right. Nothing to do with COVID-19. As has been the case with so many of these other games the Democrats have played. Nothing to do with COVID-19. But they don't care that people are suffering and that bad things are happening to them. Oh, speaking of playing games. Producer Mark, I don't know if that was my smoothest transition, but did you watch any of the NFL last night?
Of course I did.
So did you see any of the social justice shenanigans that I'm hearing about here? Because I did not watch it.
I wouldn't call it all shenanigans, so I'll explain exactly what happened to you. The Texans didn't come out of the locker room until after the national anthem, their choice, so they didn't really do anything. The Chiefs almost all stood, so there's 53 members of the roster. One player decided to kneel, and then afterwards they decided to come together in the middle of the field and just do a moment of silence, lock arms, and a moment of unity is what they called it, and the fans booed. So that was interesting. I mean, you don't want them to kneel for the national anthem. They don't, and then you boo them. I thought that was a little in poor taste. They're going to use their platform to try and push this social justice thing no matter what you do. So if you don't want them to kneel, fine. They didn't kneel. Well, one player did, but for the most part, they didn't kneel. Why are you booing them afterwards? I just think you can't have it both ways. You know they're going to do it. You paid money to go see them, and then you boo them when they did what exactly what you didn't want them to do. You didn't want them to kneel. They didn't kneel, and then you still boo them. I thought that was in poor taste.
So here we go. Daily Mail headline: NFL fans boo a moment of silence for BLM. The Houston Texans walk out during the anthem, and a Kansas City Chief takes a knee in front of 17,000 supporters at the first game of the new season. Okay, so one Kansas City, I think you actually got all that rundown just from the top of your head. Very, very impressive, sir. One Kansas City Chief took a knee. The Texans, well, they walk out during the anthem. Does that mean, so they went in the locker room while the anthem was played and then came out?
No. I think they did their normal pregame warm-ups, and usually both teams go back to the locker room and then come out right before the anthem. They did not come out until after the anthem.
Okay. I mean, people are still going to react to that as being just, look, where I think we're heading is they're just going to get rid of anthems at games, because trying to tie patriotism into sports in this way, at least at the NFL and the NBA, there are people who are not going to take kindly to players who are multimillionaire celebrities, multimillionaires in their 20s, mostly, by the way, in 20s and 30s, taking kindly to them, thinking that the country needs to hear their social justice messaging. So I think we're just going to they're going to have to get rid of the anthem before the game in some of these places. Because even like what you're saying is true. They're changing it so that, okay, well, we're not going to kneel during the anthem, but we're going to, if you do anything during the anthem other than stand there and put your hand over your heart, a lot of Americans are going to be upset about that. I don't think that's going to change.
I think I don't mind the staying in the locker room. They're just kind of, they're letting the anthem play, and they're not putting any protest in the middle of the anthem. I'm okay with that, and I think everyone should be. They want to get their voices heard, let them, and watch sports.
We'll see if I think the ratings were, they were down like double digits, but not huge on the first night from what they would be. But it's COVID, it's weird, the world's crazy, so.
And it wasn't that great of a game, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I try to watch the U.S. Open tennis, and it's not the same without fans in the stands, I got to say. You never thought you'd run this experiment in this way, but there's an energy that transfers even to your home viewing experience of having all those fans there. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And it's weird actually having some fans socially distanced in the stands, because now it almost feels like you're at like a high school game and like there's not that many people there,
I was surprised with how much noise they made in Kansas City with only like 15,000 people there. And that building can hold 100.
I bet they were. Do you think they were doing some audio, juicing the audio a little bit for the people at home? I think
they say they weren't. They say they will in New York, you're not allowed to have any fans, so they're going to pump in crowd noise for that. They said they did not because there were fans there.
Very well. This week, we will commemorate the anniversary of the 9/11 attack. I know as a country, we all still very much remember that day, and it changed all of our lives. It changed our future as a nation, as individuals. We are joined now by an author who wants to share his perspective and his story of 9/11. The book is the book is out now, and the author is Matt Bocian. His forthcoming book is Sway. It's the first memoir told by a child of 9/11. Matt, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much for having me, Buck. I appreciate it.
All right, Matt, we have obviously 9/11 this week, as I just said. What do you want people to take from the book? Why did you write it?
I wrote this book in a cathartic manner and in a manner to try to get my experiences, strength, and hope out on the table and in the open. My hope is that the resilience that my story embodies will be able to inspire people, and hopefully, in doing so, maybe express their own vulnerabilities in order to heal. And another thing I'd like, I guess, to say is, my story starts with 9/11. And 9/11 wasn't just a day for me, or the day that I lost my dad. It was the day that my life changed forever, and the things that happened after his death were related to 9/11.
Tell us more about that.
So I started becoming a little bit inquisitive and asking questions to family close by and asking them if they thought my father jumped. My mother and my uncle, my dad's brother, had spoken to him, and they told me, no, we don't think he jumped. I had an uncle, not a blood uncle, but an uncle through marriage, who told me that, yeah, your father jumped. And so my already obsessive quest to try to find my father and find out if he jumped or not, I have been consuming videos and footage of the jumpers that day. And I was pretty much convinced that maybe he jumped. Hearing that he jumped when, in reality, it wasn't true, my uncle was actually just grooming me, led to him sexually abusing me. And after that, that's when I still continue to search these videos and pictures of jumpers. But that's when I started using drugs and alcohol as a way to cope with my problems and the feelings and all the things that I was trying to bury deeper.
Speaking to Matthew Bocian, he's the author of Sway, memoir of a child of 9/11. So, Matthew, obviously 9/11 very much affected your life as it did so many others. What are you hoping to accomplish by writing this memoir?
I want people to never forget 9/11, first and foremost. I know that we say we would never forget, but I think naturally, as a country, we started having begun to forget. And I think it's important that we always remember the lives that were lost that day. And remember the fact that 9/11 was a groundbreaking and life-changing moment for this country, too. My story and what I want people to gain from my story is that there's a happy ending. I'm now over 5 years sober, and I've come to terms with my father's death. I'm no longer obsessed with my father's death. I know the answers, and I know that I will never be able to piece together the puzzles that are missing. But I've been completely honest and raw in telling my story, and I think that people will be moved by that and hopefully inspired, and that's the message I'm trying to portray.
Matthew Bocian, author of Sway. You can get it now on Amazon or wherever you buy books. Matthew, thanks for sharing your story and your strength with all of us, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks a lot, Buck. I appreciate it.
It's time for roll call.
All right. I have a couple quick stories that I wanted to touch on because I mentioned them at the top of the show and I didn't get to them before. One is that Sweden, before we get to roll call, Sweden has shown their model works. They're at basically the end of the pandemic in terms of infections. Very, very few infections, very, very few deaths. And now they're doing better than all their neighbors, including Norway right now. And they never shut down. The head of the Swedish health authority says that wearing masks is kind of a useless thing to do. Sweden's basically through it and did better than a lot of countries around. It's better than the UK, Italy, Spain. No lockdowns. Never lockdown. So someone needs to explain to me why lockdowns are so great, or so useful, I should say, when Sweden never did it and got better outcomes than countries that did extreme, including Italy, extreme lockdowns. Okay. So there's that. Because we used to talk about Sweden, and there was this whole, Sweden is running an experiment in mass death. Sweden is so much worse off these other countries. Nope. It wasn't true. And if we're interested in the truth, then we should pay attention to what actually happened there and follow up on this. And then also, Lululemon, I just thought this was so funny. Lululemon, I would say the Snow Princess is a big fan of Lululemon. And I'm a fan of her in Lululemon. I think the clothing looks very nice on ladies. So I'm not a Lululemon hater. It's like a yoga activewear company. It's worth billions of dollars now. It's become a huge, if you're a mom in the suburbs that likes to do hot yoga, you probably go to the store wearing your Lululemon. You know what I mean? Producer Mark, do you own any Lululemon?
I do not.
Have you
Nor does my wife, I think.
Have you ever done yoga?
I actually have once in a class in college. I hated it. I was miserable.
If there was video, I would pay for this.
And there probably is somewhere. I have friends in the class.
Is it, that it wouldn't be just, I've done yoga a couple times too, and it's just me the whole time going, ow, it hurts. My back hurts. My neck hurts. I'm not flexible. But producer Mark doing yoga would be good stuff, good times. But, you got to unleash your chi, man. You got to center your chi.
I'm good with where my chi is right now.
My chi is going to be on the couch this weekend, eating some Chinese food, watching some Netflix.
I'm watching the football on Sunday. I'm not chiing anywhere else.
Any good games on Sunday?
I usually just put on Red Zone.
Oh, you're a Red Zone guy. My brothers are Red Zone. You should just hang with my brothers. They love America. They love professional sports, football. They're the normal Sextons.
I'm honestly a little shocked you knew what Red Zone was.
Oh, well, because of them. They're actually doing a virtual draft tonight for their fantasy league.
They did it the day after the season started.
Or maybe it was last night they did it.
Yeah.
No, I think they did it the season opener night. So then they already did whatever. I don't even know, but I'm saying they did a virtual draft, or they're doing.
I'm guessing you're not invited into the league.
No, because I don't want. If I can't get my top NFL pick, Don Mattingly, then I don't want any part of this.
Oh my God.
I know. So, but Lululemon. Back to Lululemon. They sell yoga pants for about. Some of you are going to spit your coffee out. They sell yoga pants for about $120, $140 a pair, but they want to teach classes online for Lululemon, customers about how to resist capitalism. That's awesome. Sell your yoga pants for $120, but hashtag resist capitalism. As if anybody didn't already know that so much of this pseudo-Marxist claptrap crap is just about people feeling cool and hip and not thinking through any of this at all. But I think yoga pants are a great innovation for ladies. I think they're great, very comfortable, and also ladies, you're going to hear this from me, and it's very important. Wear comfortable shoes. I know there's all this noise. There's all this social pressure out there to tell you this is one of the few things I disagree with my main man, Jesse Kelly, on, because he's all, if you wear flats, you've given up. I think that's not true. We disagree on this. Heels for weddings, special occasions, a big party. Heels are for dress up, in my opinion. For the late. Now, look, I don't wear heels. Truth, I do not. Fact check, true. But I know what comfortable shoes are all about. I know that heels are not comfortable. High heels I'm talking about. High heels. Not comfortable. And it drains your energy. My parents have passed this on to me because they believe in comfortable footwear. If there's anything you can take from this show, if there's like two lessons from this show. Never talk to the FBI and wear comfortable shoes. Those are important. That's worth listening to me 3 hours a day for the next 10 years or for the past 7 years, whatever. That's worth it right there if you take those two things from me. And never start a land war in Asia. I think those are, which I borrow from The Princess Bride, I think is where that little quip comes from. But no, really, the comfortable shoe thing is very, very important. And so some of you have seen me even doing TV hits. I'll be wearing boat shoes. Not a fashion statement. It's just because they're the most comfortable things I can wear. I just wear the most comfortable shoes I can. I'm telling you, you're saying, Buck, why are you going to rant about this? It will change your life. I know some of you guys like to wear those lace-up, you look the dress shoes. They're all shiny and you look all spiffy. Maybe for a job interview, wedding, funeral, whatever. Not that anyone really, I guess you just wear black. I don't think you have to look spiffy at a funeral. But I'm telling you, wear whatever is most comfortable on your feet that you can get away with without it being Crocs, because that's not okay. There are limits. This is not Nom. There are rules. All right, Josh, first up in roll call. And remember, if you want to email us, teambuck@iheartmedia.com and facebook.com/Buck Sexton if you want to send in messages. And Buck Sexton on Instagram. You can direct message us. Producer Mark checks it out. I check it out. We're doing all that stuff. So And if you're not already, please do follow me on Instagram. We're putting more and more content up there all the time. All right. Josh, first up here. It was a Tom Hanks submarine movie released on Apple TV. It was terrible. I love all war movies. Not this one. Really bad. Wow. Bruce and Mark, have you seen this one?
I have not. I haven't gotten Apple TV yet.
I
Waiting
can't
for a
get it
free
on
trial.
my TV. My TV's too old, so I guess I got to get a new TV. But yeah, the submarine movie, it's how can you make a bad submarine movie? That's what I don't understand. It's such an interesting, such an interesting one. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. James. Oh, wait, but you're talking about war movies, Josh. My brothers, I was actually hanging out with my brothers last night, my two brothers. I'm very blessed. I have all three of my siblings here. My little sister is expecting a beautiful baby boy in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So she's ready to have the baby come out. So I'm going to be, yes, it is true. I'm going to be Uncle Buck. That's going to be real soon. I'm actually going to be Uncle Buck. And I will be way cooler than the John Candy character who makes them like a garbage pancake or whatever. Do you remember that movie?
Of course. You kind of have the physique of Uncle Buck now, too.
That's cold, all right? It's one thing to call me Fat Thor. It's another thing, I have feelings too, producer Mark. I'm going to start working. They opened the gym in my building. I'm actually going this weekend. I'm going to do deadlifts, and it's going to be amazing because I'm going to be deadlifting like 30 pounds. Like, ow, my back hurts. My neck
take it
hurts.
slow.
It'll be like me in yoga class all over again.
Just take it slow at first. That's what I'm going to do.
Otherwise,
my gym's open again, too.
Yeah, otherwise, I'm going to be doing the radio show in, like, traction or whatever. I'm going to have, like, a full body cast on. What were you doing? Oh, man, I was trying to bench, like, 40 pounds, and I just threw out my shoulder. So, yeah. Yeah, there you go. I will tell you, there was a time when the Buckster could throw around some pretty serious weight, and it wasn't that long ago, but now he just is carrying some serious weight, which is a different thing. All right, but I'm going to get back into it. Fighting shape. Got to do it. James. Oh, so I was telling about my brothers. I keep going to James. So my brothers asked what about best movies. I actually think Hacksaw Ridge is one of the best movies of the last 10 years, which is a war movie. And I think that maybe in part because I thought that it was going to be corny, and I didn't even think it didn't win me over until it got a little bit deeper into the movie. And then I was like, wow, I was wrong. This is actually a really good movie. And when you learn the true story about that guy and why he got the Medal of Honor, it's amazing. It's amazing. Unlike Midway, which was on last night, and my brothers and I are going to watch it, and then they reminded me that I said that they took an incredibly important pivotal battle in history and made it meh. It's a meh movie. It's like a B-, C+ kind of a movie. Richard Jewell, excellent. Speaking about not talking to the FBI, watch that one on the plane. Richard Jewell, excellent movie. Highly, highly recommend. And it's a reminder, the FBI, I know there's some FBI agents who listen to this show, and thank you for locking up, cartel members and child molesters and other important things. But when investigations get politicized and there's political pressure, the big FBI cannot be trusted. Can't trust them. I mean, just look at Comey and Strzok and Page, and we've seen this now. Did I not talk today about the wiping of the phones? I just realized I didn't talk about producer Mark. Did I talk about the phone wiping?
I don't think so.
Oh boy. Well, let me do that right now. Sorry, we're gonna put a pause in the roll call. So here's what happened. Judicial Watch came out and said that they got documents that proved that I think it was 27 phones from the Mueller investigation either lost, wiped clean, or just destroyed beyond repair from people working on the Mueller probe. Okay? And as we all know, Mueller was like a figurehead, wasn't even really running it. The guy had deteriorated. It was really gross what they did. It was like elder abuse to pretend that guy was running the probe, just like it would be like elder abuse if Joe Biden were made president. But if you believe that over 24 highly trained federal investigators in the most politically sensitive investigation of our lifetime, if you believe that they accidentally typed in the wrong code on their iPhone 10 times, causing it to entirely wipe itself clean, you probably also believe that Jussie Smollett was attacked by MAGA hat wearers at 1 a.m. on a freezing cold Chicago night, and they just happened to have a noose handy. You know, if you believe one, you probably believe the other. And if you believe them both, you are a dumbass, right? We know this. There is absolutely no way that those phones were wiped by accident. Not plausible. It's not wiped, lost, cracked. This was destroying comms after the fact. This is destruction of evidence in order to prevent the American people from seeing what kind of political targeting was really going on here. What was really happening as a result of all of this. Now we'll never know. Just like I've been telling you, don't expect anybody important to go to jail because of the Durham probe. I was right about that. We don't know I'm right yet, but eventually I'm going to say to you, I told you guys the Durham probe didn't really do anything. And it's not the fault of Barr. It's not the fault of Durham. It's not even the DOJ. It's the system, because as long as, I didn't make that mistake on purpose for political reasons, I'm just the dumbest person on earth. As long as that's an excuse for any bureaucrat who works for the federal government, there will be no accountability. And trust me, my friends, that is the excuse they will continue to fall back on. All right, now back into the roll call. James. So Trump told Bob Woodward, a reporter, that COVID was bad. And Woodward, a reporter, hid the information instead of reporting it, perhaps letting thousands die so he could later use it to hurt Trump's reelection. Nice. Shields high, Buck. Producer Mark, I think we actually have Trump agreeing with exactly that point from our friend Andy. Can we play that?
If Bob Woodward thought what I said was bad, then he should have immediately, right after I said it, gone out to the authorities so they can prepare and let him know. But he didn't think it was bad, and he said he didn't think it was bad. He actually said he didn't think it was bad. The only one that said it was bad or thinks it was bad were the fake news media, because they take it and they try and put it a certain way. If Bob Woodward thought it was bad, then he should have immediately gone out publicly, not wait 4 months. You know, he's had that statement for 4 months, maybe 5 months. He's had it for a long time.
Why didn't he? Why didn't he go forward and say that? Well, because it wasn't really that terrible, because it wasn't terrible at all, because he understood at the time what the president said, but he also knew that he could use it to sell books later on and be a hero to the resistance, and that's what really mattered to him. Andy, next up here. Buck, you and the wonderful producer Mark need to leave NYC before the election. We don't want to worry about you all the day after. You two are the best ever, even better than the Great Rush. Well, Andy, that's very, very kind of you, and we appreciate that. Don't worry about us. Producer Mark will keep me safe. You know, if the mob forms outside my building, producer Mark, I'll just put him on speakerphone on my phone, and he will frighten them with his grouchiness, and they will all run for cover. See?
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, that's like your superpower. You know what I mean? You're going to tell them all that they're running late again, and that they forgot about another client meeting, and they're all going to be very upset and go away.
If only life was so simple.
Yeah. Just saying. It's producer Mark's magic power. Next up here, Kristen. Hearing you sing the Mentos jingle made me actually laugh. Thanks for the memories. Man, yeah, they used to have... Okay, producer Mark, what was your favorite commercial jingle from way back in the day? Do you remember one?
Huh.
You know what my
top of the head comes Kit Kat?
I was going to say, give me a break, give me a break. I think that may have been the most... That thing burrowed deep into your brain like, you know, one of those amoeba that eats your brain. That's really scary. But you know what I mean? It does go way in there.
What about the Bagel Bites commercial?
What was that one?
I don't remember it off the top of my head. Like, I don't remember the words, but I remember kind of like the jingle. I can try to play it.
Do you remember the dog that was like, take a bite out of crime? I remember that guy. That was a whole thing, too.
I think that was a cartoon.
Yeah, it was. Hey, take a bite out of crime. Take a bite out of the Buck Sexton Show, everybody, and share it with someone over the weekend. Pass the buck. Spotify, iHeart app, Apple Podcast. Share it with a friend this weekend. They'll love you for it. Until Monday, shields high.